All right, this is a video about SquareSpace SEO settings, basic information settings, and even page level settings. It can be quite confusing when you go into Squarespace for the first time or you're not as familiar with the CMS. Basically, Squarespace has three different places where you can change the description for a particular page, which can also, if you touch on or use the SEO settings and or the settings for the basic information of the website, they can be universal throughout the website. So let's look at Squarespace first and talk about it a little bit more with the administrative panel, and it might make a little more sense. So let's go over there. So we're going to log into our Squarespace account. As you can see, here's a dummy account where literally I have only a few pages populated. Well, in Squarespace, you can just go to Settings, and simply within Settings, there are two places that might affect your search engine optimization. Well, the first one is the basic information setting, and also the second one might be SEO. I mean, there's more to it, but let's talk about these for today. So in the basic information, you can actually write something here in the site description. So there might be some confusion as to whether or not this is the meta description for each page, or whether or not this represents something else. If you're familiar with rich snippets or schema, you will find that this is actually what I believe Squarespace is using to populate literally the settings that they're trying to communicate to the search engines via schema or via rich snippets. But there's another setting called SEO. So if you go into SEO, and you will see here basically search engine description. Well, this is going to be your meta description if you did not change any of the page settings on the page level. So this should actually populate each individual page when it's blank on the page level. Here in terms of the home page title format and the other formats, we'll talk about that a little bit later. It deals with permalink structure, but for today's video, for this one in particular, we're just going to talk about how the meta description or the description throughout the website is actually manipulated. So if you go back to actually the main navigation panel and you go to a specific page, we're going to jump in here to our What We Do page. And so if you look at that by clicking on that icon and then, bringing up the different fields for each of the pages, you will see that there's also a description field here on the page level. So this will override the earlier SEO settings that you can actually manipulate for the site-wide. So it says how we don't. So this will be what populates the meta description. Whereas if it was blank, so here, I think in the projects we left it blank. So here you can see it right here, it doesn't have any settings. This page will actually be populated by those SEO settings that you did actually put in earlier. So we have two examples of the What We Do page and Projects page, and we're going to simply navigate outside to the actual page or the website pages. So let's log out here. So once you do, we can kind of prove what I was talking about. So here, let's actually navigate to the What We Do page. So if you see this page, you will see by looking at basically the page source, the meta description, frankly, is how we don't. So at the page level, we inputted this. So therefore, the settings that we put in the SEO settings actually don't show up. But if you look at the projects page, which we did not have any SEO settings, or excuse me, no page level settings, and you view the page source, you will find here that that default text, basically this information should not override the settings for each page, does show up. So the SEO settings are for any page that has not been given any information in that description box for the page level. But as we saw as well, there is more information that might be populated, which relates to schema and rich snippets. And you can see here in literally the code that, frankly, there are other details that are populated into the page with the basic settings. So this is where it populates, and most likely that is going to be rich snippets or schema data, and so that's honestly how it all works.